Well, good morning, everyone. Let's begin this day. Wonderful, beautiful day. Sun is shining. Hashem is protecting us. Syria is total confusion. The whole world is just as it says in the prophets. Everything is pointing toward the redemption, which has been pointing already 2,000 years of pointing. So I hope we get to the point, and there should be the total redemption. The whole world should be aware of how much the Creator loves them. Meanwhile, let's give charity. Charity, tzedakah. The whole world depends on charity. Here we go. God has given us so much. We have to give a little bit to others. Most of what He gave us is just so that we would be able to fulfill the commandment of charity, Jews and non-Jews alike. Here we go. Ready? Here we have the money. And by the way, I have. There it is. Charity. I have a new camera, even though I have not yet got it in my possession, but it has arrived in the mail, and soon you'll be seeing a new Rabbi Bolton. Okay, here we go. So what did we learn last time? We're learning about Yaakov sending these messengers to Esav. And Rashi explains the messengers are angels. But it's okay, so he's sending messages to Esav because he thinks that Esav has finished his work and that now they can unite. And that Esav really has this tremendous treasure powerhouse of good at his disposal. If he can just, if he hopes, it is. It's in his potential for Esav. And so Yaakov sends these messengers in order that he and Esav can unite and utilize this tremendous potential which is hidden in Esav. Okay, and what's going on? What is the potential and what is the meeting and what's going on? Okay, so first of all, we have to realize that this story is in the Bible. It's a Bible story. And the Bible, Jewish Bible, is really not called the Bible. I don't know really where that word came from. It must be some sort of a Spanish version. Anyway, Biblio, I guess Biblio is something, a book or something. The word is Torah. The word Torah means teaching. So it's coming to, every word is coming to teach us something, not just a history lesson. It's also a history lesson. This also happened. But the main thing is the lesson that's actual for us right now. History is something that already was. This is happening right now. The meeting between Yaakov and Esav is happening right now. Right now. That's right. It is happening right now. What is it? It's the Jewish people. That's Yaakov. We're the Bnei Yisrael. Yaakov is Yisrael. We'll see soon. He gets his name changed. Trying to educate and, how do you say, utilize the potential good and reveal the potential good found in the world, more exactly in all mankind. That's the Jewish people. But like we learned here, in order to do that, first of all, Yaakov had to spend a long time in Lavan's house and to work on himself so he could refine himself. So first of all, Yaakov had to get his, utilize all of his potential. And then when that happens, then he can meet up with Esav, and they together will work to correct the whole entire world, which that's what Adam was supposed to do. That's what God created. That's what the Bible tells us. The Torah tells us that, okay. So in other words, this meeting between them is not just a historical, a religious story or a whatever, a fable or whatever you want to call it, the Iliad and the Odyssey or something like that, that one character meets the other and the gods come down and they interact and things like that. Those are nice stories, if you want to, but it's not, those aren't real. This is talking more about actual reality, what's going on right now with us. Okay, so here we are, we're the Jews, we're the representatives the representatives of Yaakov, and our job now is to unify with Esav, namely all the nations in the world, that they should all come to reveal and realize their potential. What is their potential? That God is creating them, and God has instilled in every single human being in the world some unique blessing and potential to improve the world. Everybody in their own way. I think I've said this before, but I want to say it again. There's a theory. I remember when I was learning in university, but I'm sure that it's even before that. And we're talking about 50 years ago, 60 years ago. There's too many people in the world, and certainly there's going to be a tremendous cataclysm, and that not enough food, and everybody's going to die, and there'll be hunger, and there'll be disease, and this. So we got to get rid of people. We have to get rid of people. There's a lot of people nowadays that believe that. I think this whole woke movement is based on that idea that life is not so good. Too much life is a bad thing. It's not funny. So they encourage all these things which are the opposite of life, But the fact of the matter is, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and I once heard this on a radio program, that there were two economists, and one said he represents 99% of the economists, and they say there's too many people in the world, and they have statistics to prove it, etc. And the other one he said he represents 1% of the economists in the world, and that is that there's not enough people in the world, because we see, yes, true, if the world continues on its present path, then sure, there's going to be a catastrophe and etc. But the world is not supposed to go on its present path. And what changes the path of the world are individuals. And the one individual can come and he can invent something, right? Edison invented electricity. Let's say, I don't know if he really did or not, electricity. And one guy, then the Wright brothers, they discovered the airplane, and somebody discovered what is this guy's name? Fleming discovered penicillin, and et cetera, and et cetera. And they discover these ways. And so somebody's going to come along and figure out a way to discover how to make food from air, or how to make, how to irrigate all the deserts in the world so there'll be enough place to live, so there won't be any problem with food and not with dwelling. And someone will come along with a cure for all diseases, and somebody can come along like this. So the more people there are in the world, the more chance there will be this one person. Huh? The more people that are in the world, the more chance there will be this one person. Now there's 8 billion people in the world. So if there was 80 billion people in the world, or 800 billion people in the world, there's more of a chance that this one person will come along and discover something to save the world, because this is premised on the idea that God is good. The Creator is good, and that He wants the world to be good. Therefore, but He does it through people. Therefore, the possibilities that someone will come along to improve the whole world are 100%, 100%. It's not thin possibilities, a slim chance, 100%. And the more people that there are in the world, it becomes 200%. I thought, whatever, I mean, I know there's no such thing, but it'll be more probable that it'll happen sooner. So that's the idea of Mashiach. But the idea of Mashiach is to wake up all the Jews to their potential, and the Jews will in turn wake up all the world, so that world knows that. And then one person will stand up, some aborigine from the whatever it is, the wilds of Australia, or some some pauper in the middle of the Caucasians or something like that, and he'll come up also with an idea of how to make how to power cars from air, and how to make food from salt water. Any food you want. Want a steak? Salt water. It'll figure out a way to do it. That's just the beginning. People will start to realize how good the Creator is, how much every Creator wants people to live. And that's the idea of activating all of the non-Jews in the world to do that. That's what Yaakov wanted to do with Esav. Esav represents all the non-Jews in the world, and Yaakov represents all the Jews in the world. Ideally, that's what it's supposed to be. So the name they give to this, the potential, which is found in the non-Jews, they call it the lights of Tohu, Orot de Tohu. Tremendously high, good, beneficial blessings and potential, which is found only in the non-Jews, only in the world. And the Jews can wake this up. The Jews have to wake this up. Okay, so first of all, it means the Jews have to get themselves together, which Yaakov did. Wow. And secondly, excuse me, and then they can activate all the non-Jews, but the non-Jews, they also have to be ready for this, right? So Yaakov, he worked on himself, and he connected himself with the Creator, how to react to every situation in the world to bring out the best. And he was in Lavan, the evil Lavan, and from Lavan he managed to actually take out the 12 tribes and all the sheep and the riches and everything like that. And now he's coming to Asa. Now he's coming to Asa. And he thought that Asa, this has been 30 something to 35 years that they've been separated one from the other. And he figured that Asa is now come to the realization that he needs Yaakov. He's going to stop his evil ways of rape and murder and robbery and all these terrible things. And he stopped his ways, and he now wants the direction of Yaakov. In the language of Kabbalah, this is called Tohu and Tikkun. Esav is Tohu. Tohu means unrestrained energy. And Yaakov is Tikkun, which Tikkun means restrained and harmonious energy. Almost like the difference between human beings and animals, right? You can get an ox that's powerful. An ordinary ox is much more powerful than a human being. It should be that human beings, which are a superior type of creation, should be superior in every way, right? It says, but they're not. Oxen are more powerful than humans. Dogs are scarier than people. Why? Because unless a person acts like a dog. Because that's Tohu. Tohu is unrestrained energy. Unrestrained energy, which can a lot of times be very destructive. And Yaakov is a thing of construction, building harmony, but there's not so much energy there. Because everything is always checking itself to make sure that it gets along with everything else. Okay, so Yaakov, the idea, of course, is to, that's also, Yaakov is the idea of the Torah. The Torah is very limited. That's why a lot of people don't want to be religious, because it limits you. You can't do what you want to. You can't be like an animal. And being like an animal is very pleasurable. The problem is it's destructive. It doesn't last that long. It doesn't last long. You know, you burn out quickly, burning from both ends where they go. Okay, here we go. Ready? So I want to, before we begin this, let me just show you the sentences in the Torah so that we have an idea of the how do you say, the order of things, how things are going. I wanted a better word. The development. Okay, here we go. Watch this. Here we go. Ready? Here's the Torah portion of this week. Oh. Okay, ready? Vayishlach. Yaakov sent messengers in front of to Esav, to the land of Seir, to the place of Edom. And he said, this is what you should say to Esav. These messengers should say, and like I said, Rashi said these are angels. He says, sends the messengers, and he says, this is what you should say to Esav, like this. Our master Yaakov says that I have been with Lavan, and I have delayed until now. In other words, I fixed myself up, and I have oxes and donkeys and flocks and servants and maidservants, and I'm sending them to find to you. We'll see soon. We're going to see what he sends to Esav. And the angels, the messengers, they came back to Yaakov and they said, your brother Esav wants no part of your peace offerings. He's coming with 400 people with him. But Arba Meos Ishimo, 400 people. And we learned about that yesterday. The 400, this is like 400 powers of destruction and severe judgment that he came, which the source is very, very high, from the 400 units of silver that Abraham gave. Nevertheless, Esav is transformed all of his potential to bad. Yaakov was afraid, and he was very disturbed, very disturbed. And he took the people, and this is what we're going to learn today, and he divided the people that were with him and the flocks and the animals and the sheep. He had sheep also. It said that he took all these sheep that he had taken from Lavan, and he sold them, and he bought other things, donkeys and things like that. He divided it into two camps. And Esav said, and Yaakov said, if Esav comes and he wants to destroy one camp, then the second camp will be able to escape. And now Yaakov prays. And that's what we're doing today. We're going today. Okay, why he divided it into two, we'll talk about that also today. Vayomer Yaakov said, God, the God of my father Abraham, the God of my father Yitzchak, the God that told me that I would come back to my land, and I'll help you. I am small from all of the kindness that God has given me. It says, I survived the Esav, I survived this. Maybe I've used up all of my merits. and because all when I began, I just had my, right, when I came to Lavan, all I had was just my staff, just my stick when I came to Lavan. And now after 20 years here, I have two huge camps of riches and donkeys and camels. In other words, maybe I've used up all my merits, right? Please save me. So he's praying. Yaakov is praying to the God of Abraham and Yitzchak, the God that helped his forefathers. Save me now from my brother, from Esav, because I am afraid of him. Maybe he's going to come and smite me, the mothers with their children. You, God, said you're going to do me good and make my seed children like the sea, like the sand on the sea, and they won't be able to be counted, right? So help me. And now is going to be the battle with the. Okay, before that it says, so he went to sleep, he lay down, and he took what was there in his hands. We're going to see after this is going to be the battle with the angel. He's going to get his name changed. So he takes from so he sends sacrifices. He sends gifts to Esav, and we're going to see in Torah Ohr that these gifts that he sends are like simulating the sacrifices in the Holy Temple. But of course, it's different. In the Holy Temple, they would slaughter them, and they could only have certain animals. Here, he's sending only kosher animals. So here he's saying 200, 200 goats, male goats, there's sheep, etc., etc., etc. The camels, camels and male camels, physical camels, and donkeys, male donkeys, female donkeys. And he gave them alone, and he said the first one, okay, so that's what he's sending to Esav. Good, that's the point I wanted to get to. Okay, now let's go back, just so we see at least how this thing is developed. Ready, here we go. Well, it says, Vayomer Yaakov said, prayed to God, the God of my father Abraham, the God of my father Yitzchak, the God that told me that I would return in peace. No, please save me. Okay, so what's going on here? Pirush, what does it mean? The Yaakov prayed, that there should be drawn to him, Makifim, surrounding levels, these high levels of holiness that kept Abraham and Yitzchak, his grandfather and father. He wanted this to help him also, that he could succeed in uniting with Esav to draw down these tremendously high blessings that we talked about, that I talked about in the beginning of the class. She'd kala, that they should be revealed below. And by means of this, also save me, miyad Esav, that I should be saved from Esav, etc. Okay, so here we have a unique thing, prayer. What does prayer do? God wants us to pray, and when we pray, God answers. When we pray, God answers. It doesn't always answer when we want, doesn't always answer how we want, but God is always affected by our prayers. You listen, God receives all prayers, and God is affected by all prayers. And here's one example. Here's an example. Yaakov prayed to God, give me energy, give me power, give me blessing, give me miracles, something that's going to be above my abilities. That's above my abilities. Me alone, I can't stand against Esav. First of all, it could be I already used up all of my merits, or whatever I have merits, because I survived Lavan. So I'm empty, right? I'm running on empty. You have to help me, God. And not only that, even if I do have all these merits, Esav is tremendously powerful, right? You made him that way, God. he has connection with these tremendously high, levels of reality and power and blessing, except that he's misusing, or that he's not even aware of, that it can be used for good. So Yaakov was afraid. He had this awesome job to do, and he was afraid he couldn't do it. So let's go back to our original. What's this talking about? It's talking about the Jews and the world. The Jews and the world. And we Jews are supposed to educate and arouse the whole entire world to serve God. How are we going to do that? I mean, I think, according to the most moderate estimations, the Jews are outnumbered 500 to 1. The Jews are like 0.2% of the world. So there's 500 to 1. And the Jews, the non-Jews, it's just not in number, quantity, it's also in quality. These people, every human being is different. Every group is different. And we're supposed to transform the Nazis to be, to worship the God connected to the God of Israel. We're supposed to, and how are we going to do that? We're supposed to transform the whole church, that they only believe in the God of Israel, that the only one God. The Muslims, they stop destroying each other and destroying it. How are we going to do a thing like that? How can we do? We haven't got power. So the answer is pray. Pray to God for the impossible. When you have a good, positive goal, so pray. But prayer is not enough, but it helps. Excuse me. Anyway, so Yaakov, first of all, so again, what does he want to do? He wants to wake up the latent power of good, which is found only in Esav. The power of blessing, which is above anything that Yaakov could achieve alone. Yaakov needed this blessing. He had to wake up the power of Esav, just like we have to wake up the whole entire world. Okay. So what did Yaakov do? First of all, he prayed, number one, which this is a basic principle in life. Before you start anything, you should pray. How long do you pray? 2 seconds, 5 seconds. God, please help me. God, please make everything good, the way that things should come out the way you want. God, right? Pray. Okay. Number one, he prayed. After that, Vayachatz Ta'am, we said he divided the people, his riches and his servants and his family into 2 camps. Okay, why did he do into 2 camps? Why? The reason that he divided into 2 camps specifically could be understood by means of understanding the difference between tohu, which that's Esav. What do we say? Tohu is unrestrained power, and tikkun, which is restrained power, harmony. So Yaakov had tikkun, he had harmony, but he needed the power of Esav to make it really work. And Esav had the power, but he needed the order of Yaakov in order that it should work also. But Esav didn't want to work. Esav wanted to, how do you say? I want it all and I want it now. He wanted just to go for himself. That's the unfortunate reality that Yaakov met up with now. Okay, so Yaakov now, first of all, he prays to God. Number two is he has to somehow or other make himself, how do you call it, somewhat approachable, acceptable to Esav. How did he do that? Because Esav represents the world of Tohu. And the world of Tohu is divided into two. Why? Look, we'll see why. In the world of Tohu, this order of Tohu, which is above the whole creation, right? The power, unlimited power, it was a spheros, the 10 spherot of God. Everything is created from the 10 aspects of God, right? Tohu also has 10 spherot. But there they are separated one from the other, one under the other. But in the world of Tikkun is Tzir Kavim. They are what's called 3 pillars. Gimel Kavim, Yamin, Small, Be'emtza. In the world of Tohu, everything is separate one from the other. It's like there's only 2. There's nothing uniting. There's only 2, me and you, me against the world. In the world of Tikkun, there's harmony. We learned about that in the speech of the Rebbe. We'll get to it. What does it mean? There's me and there's you, and there's a third thing which, how do you say, synthesizes both of them. It's a word good? No, it's not a good word. Which unites them both. What do they call it? Synthesis. Yeah, that's right. Synthesize. There's what's called, how does it go? Thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Huh? Anyway, so there's the third pillar. The third pillar unites them both. That's harmony. It takes the opposites and it unites them. That's the number 3. So by Yaakov, the whole main thing is harmony. That's tikkun. And by Esav, the whole thing is separateness. Me and you, 2 things. That by Yaakov, the middle pillar, this is what joins together these other 2 and makes them harmonious. Yamin was small, right and left. Liot mitchalalim yachad. This is also called mercy. Mercy, where you judge the situation and you give accordingly. Kindness means you just give, right? Gevura means you don't give. You hold back. You're too strict. And mercy means you have a certain one measure of strictness and one measure of giving, and you unite the 2 of them together. That's Yaakov. Yaakov is harmony. And so now Yaakov wants to appeal to Esav, so he divides his flock. And you have to remember, everything that's going on over here is tremendous spiritual repercussions for all time. It was real historical events, but it has tremendous, okay, you do it like it's known, that Tiferet, that's the middle pillar. This is the mamutza. This is the go-between, the connector between Chesed and Gevura, Mechabrim Yachad, and join them together. Right? There's Chesed, Gevura, and Tiferet. A lot of times, what's called the body of God, right? The body of God. The body of God. Like Isaiah and Ezekiel, they saw God sitting on a throne. What do they see? So it says the right arm of God and the left arm of God. That's God's kindness and God's severity. The body of God that joins the right and the left together, that's Tiferet. That's what's called the middle pillar. Beauty, harmony. Look, and therefore the Jewish people, if they are tikkun, they say 3 times, holy, holy, holy. Number 3, and it's written, and then also by you, Am Segula, that the Jewish people, they are called a Segula people. A segel is the punctuation under the letters. You ever see the punctuations? There's a patach, there's a chirik. A segel is 3 dots, 2 dots and 1 below. That's a segel. Am Segula. A segel is 3 points. Right, left, and middle. But in the world of Toh, that's the world of Esav, that separate one under the other. There's no unity at all. This is only 2 pillars. Kindness is on its own, and severity is on its own. Like it's written, a Devorim explanation of this in another place. It goes like this because because Tohu is tremendous, powerful lights, unlimited light, and there's very little vessels. Therefore, because of the weakness of the vessels of tohu, in other words, like I said, unlimited. A vessel is a limitation. So because the whole idea of tohu is pure power, which is unrestrained, and there's very little vessels, therefore, therefore the vessel is alone and the light is alone. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Therefore, because the vessel is not according to the level of the light, therefore the vessel cannot contain both opposites together. For instance, a person that's a small-minded, right, a immature person, lo yachil, is not able to bear two opposites. He's not able to bear out two opposites. Ela im yite sechlo, if his mind goes to be merit, lo yimsa shum sechlo, he can't find any reason to be strict, and he can't bear anything for being strict, right? Like parents with their children, everything they do is good. Can't find anything bad. Right? Parents that don't have any education how to deal with children. So what do? They figure, I'll give them anything they want. The main thing is they should be happy. That's the slogan of America, right? The slogan of Judaism is Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. The slogan of America is, if it makes you happy, anything that makes you feel good, just do it. That's tohu. That's what's called confusion. That's what's called confusion. Unlimited power. If that power is directed toward love, then you love, unconditional love. Whatever he does is okay. And the other way, if it goes to bad, if he hates somebody, he'll never find anything good in him. So it comes out, so it's only one alone. That's like an animal, right? An animal, he's got his nature and he just does his thing. That's tohu. Sometimes he'll be kind, sometimes he'll be strict, but there's never any harmony between them. He can't change his mind, maybe even can control his severity and get Harriet. Akavim mifradim. If so, the whole thing of tohu is that everything is separate. Chesed lo yachol lisbol. That was the whole, one of the Nazi slogans was, think with your arms, think with your thighs. Don't, right? You have an enemy, just kill him. No mercy, no nothing. You just, like an animal, right? You go for, that's tohu. That's tohu. Of course, that's very powerful. That's very powerful, right? Nothing can make you turn back. Nothing can lessen your resolve. You can't say, please have mercy. This is nothing whatsoever. Right? You just go and kill. That's the side of tohu. That's tohu. Pure, right? Nowadays, they're trying to make in the world the opposite, this whole woke movement. No limitations. Everything is good. Just go for it. The only bad thing is if you try to limit me. Just love and giving and this, and of course it comes out to be the opposite. That's called tohu, right? It's destruction. Bekain lahipach, and also the opposite. This is what's called beis kavim, two pillars. Shechesed, that kindness is alone, and gevura, and power is alone. Therefore, Yaakov, he wanted to appeal to Esav, so he divided all of his properties into two. And two means separation. There's no harmony. So this is in tune with what Esav wanted. Now Esav caught Esav's attention, because Esav is also the thing of separation. But tikkun, the whole thing of tikkun, which that's Yaakov, harmony, the tiferet is in the middle. This aspect of beauty is in the middle. So it connects and decides. It how do you say it? It dampens. Better word. Anyway, it harmonizes between chesed, between kindness and power. That even at the time when a person is strict, it's also there can be a little inclination for good, and also the opposite. Lefi, because the tikkun oros muatim, because fixing up small lights and vessels are a lot. Therefore, nimsa a kli. Therefore, the vessel is wide, and it can receive two opposites. Like a person, a person who is, let's say, mature. A person is mature, he can bear two opposites together. The yishkanu b'mocho, and it can be in his heart, brain and his heart. right, together. Like saying, this person, he's right, a thief. But on the other hand, he's very kind, and sometimes, and maybe he's a thief because he was very brought up in a very poor background. But maybe he just uses that as an excuse, so he can go back and forth. But he's a thief. But Judge, he just stole from you. What? He stole your car, burned your car. My car? Oh, all of a sudden, toe kicks in. I can't hear any good. This guy messed with me. Therefore, that's toe. Toe is only bad. Then somebody comes in and says, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It wasn't your car he burned. It was somebody else's car. It's the car in back of you. Oh, that's different. Let's understand. Maybe he has mitigating purposes. Maybe this. So that's tikkun and toe. Tikkun is that you can be severe and kind, and they can both rule at the same time, and you can find a common ground between them. Toe is no way. If it's strict, it's strict. If it's kind, it's kind. Therefore, the spore is a zechut. Therefore, you can learn good, even though you are you're inclined to say something bad about a person, but you have the ability that you can change your mind on your own. That's tikkun. In tikkun, chesed and gevura can be unified together, and that's the idea of the three pillars. Therefore, Yaakov did not send three, because Yaakov, that would indicate already limitation and harmony, and Esav wanted no part of that. On the Bavorazu of Yaakov and Esav, that Yaakov had to draw down this surrounding level of tohu. That's what he wanted to, the potential of Esav, which this is a level of the lights of tohu, which is unlimited, beli gavul. Therefore, he had to raise up mayan nukvin. He had to elevate his desire to there. Mayan nukvin is your desires, feminine waters, from below to above. And the man, this Mayan nukvin, this feminine waters, has to be according to the way of what he wants to draw down. According to the way he elevates himself, so also draws down. Since it's so, because tohu was only two sides, therefore Yaakov had to also do two sides. That's what it means. That's what it means that he divided the people into two camps. Dugma, that he should be similar. He should mimic the world of tohu. Said that there was one under the other and not three pillars. By means of this, you could attach himself to the world of tohu, and he could draw down these surrounding lights. Maybe I can give you an example. I'll give you another example. The Rebbe brought up a lot of times that it's necessary for the Jewish people. We have to have an army. You have to have an army. The Jews always had an army. But you have to use the army. How do you use the army? First of all, why do we need an army? Why do we need an army? We're connected to God. The Jewish people are connected to God. They learn the Torah. It's God's Torah. They do the commandments. It's God's commandments. And God rules the whole world. He rules the whole world. What do we need an army for? What do we need all this stuff for? Right? We're connected to the creator of the universe. He'll do to them what he did to Egypt, the 10 plagues, and that's that, right? That's the racist. No, that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. The 10 plagues, that destroyed Egypt. We don't want to destroy the world. We don't even want to destroy our enemies. We don't want to destroy our enemies. What do we want to do? We want to change them, convince them. But in order to do that, we have to do something that's like them. So therefore, we have to have an army. So the Rebbe said a lot of times that if your enemy says that they're going to attack you, you have to prepare to attack them first. It says you hashkem lahargo. It says you have to prepare to kill them. It doesn't say you have to kill them. It says when your enemy comes, hashkem lehargo. It says you have to wake up early. You have to, how do you say, preemptively go to kill them. But the Rebbe says not that you have to actually kill them. You have to kill them. The Rebbe said, for instance, when we have enemies, we should threaten, we should prepare everything to totally carpet bomb the enemy, to kill everyone, all of them. And when the enemy sees that we really want to do it, then there'll be peace. But now we should necessarily do it. We should be prepared to do it. And the Rebbe said, if so, you'll see that all of the wars that Israel fights, it could be we won't have to fire one shot. As soon as they see that we're really serious and we really intend to use the atomic bomb, or we intend to whatever it is, and that we're really intending to do it, when they do it, then it could be that they'll stop. But we have to be like them. They want to destroy us. We have to show them that we want to destroy them. The Jewish people, they're supposed to be God's people. We're supposed to be holy. We're supposed to be for peace. We are for peace. But the only way you can get peace is you have to be similar to the non-Jews. You have to have an army with weapons, and you have to train your soldiers, and they have to know how to kill and to stab and to this, and to blow up, and all the tricks you have to know. But it's not necessary that you're going to have to use them to actually do them, but you have to be ready to do them. It's a very fine line. And that's the line that Yaakov was in. Yaakov said he wants to reveal the true good which is concealed in Esav. The only way to do that, he has to be similar to them. Okay, it's not threatening like the example I gave. So the example I gave doesn't really, fit 100%. Maybe it doesn't even fit 1%, but that's what I thought. So we have to, Yaakov, therefore, he split the camp into two so that Esav would see division. That Esav understood. For this reason, now we can understand why Yaakov also, he brought to Esav sacrifices. He gave to him this idea of a mincha. It says a mincha means an offering. A mincha, this means like in the base of Mikdash, like in the Holy Temple. This is an elevation of feminine waters, of desire from the world, to draw down that we should have a reaction of God. This is called Mayan, masculine waters, Mayan duchman. Mayan, Mayan, it doesn't say Mayan duchman. Okay, anyway. That when we elevate these feminine waters, is that that has to be commensurate to what we want to draw down. It says Hashem Yaninu Biom Karinu, that God answers us in the same light that we call to him. Lahamshich or Makiv, to draw down the surrounding level of Or Makiv. Therefore, we can understand why it is that Yaakov, he brought this mincha, this offering to Esav. He elevated this desire from below to have a result to draw down the surrounding level of Esav. This is like the sacrifices that were in the temple. The sacrifices that were in the temple, this is an elevation of what's called feminine waters, Mayan Nukvin. Oh, here it is, to draw down Mayan Duchrin, to draw down the masculine waters. In other words, a reaction from God. And here Yaakov wanted to draw down this reaction from God, the source of Esav, like it's known. Nevertheless, that's the purpose of the sacrifices in the Holy Temple. Nevertheless, his sacrifices was not like it was in the sacrifices in the Torah. Right? Why? Because the sacrifices in the Torah, first of all, in the Torah, they have to be only from three types of animals, right? Either birds or sheep or cows. That's it. In the Torah, there's no other sacrifices, only three. And they have to be slaughtered. There's no such thing as offering up live animals. But when he said, but shchita kasher bazar, it doesn't have to be that the priest or the Kohen sacrifices it. Anyone can, but it has to be done only with kosher animals, and the animal has to be slaughtered in the temple. In other words, everything had to be limited, like the world of Tikkun. We don't find any sacrifices in the Torah. The only time we find a living sacrifice, bechai, a living animal, is only the Seir Lazazel. On Yom Kippur, they push a goat off of a mountain. And also in the sacrifices, they didn't sacrifice the whole entire thing, only the fats and the blood. And there was the ola, but except for that, only the mincha, but this offering that Yaakov sent to Esav was from impure animals. Like it says, he sent camels, v'gam, and also they were alive. What is it? They were alive. V'lo shchutim, and they weren't slaughtered. Why? Because elevating this feminine waters, in other words, the energy from below that Yaakov was offering up, he was offering up to, if you want to call it, the God of Esav. The God of Esav. The same, it said there's only one God, but Esav didn't know he had this God. He didn't know. He didn't go according to God at all. He just went according to himself. So therefore, Yaakov wanted to arouse this. He had to send this feminine waters, in other words, from below. Yaakov, it was only to draw down this level of the masculine waters, the blessing that comes down from above, from this world of Tohu. And the man and the mad, the inspiration from below, and the result, the answer from above, that's man or mad, the feminine waters and the masculine waters of the world of Tohu. This is different from the man and the mad of the world of Tikkun in the base of Mikdash. The whole thing in the Holy Temple was sacrifices according to the Torah. And the Torah, this is the world of Tikkun, fixed up, in the world of Atzilut, which that's like the part of creation, so to speak. Namely, the world of Tikkun is lights, inside of lights, which are very, very limited, and they are limited into vessels. That's the laws of the Torah. And since this can only in a vessel, this shows that the light is very, very small, very, very limited. That's the world of Tikkun. Therefore, the Torah, that's come down, the Torah, which comes from this level of Tikkun, is also very, very exact and very, very limited. Therefore, it says in the Torah, how do you make sacrifices? A very limited way. Man, the elevation from below to above of Tikkun, everything is with tremendous detail. If an animal has a little blemish on it, if there's something wrong, if the animal's within the first 8 days, all these laws, that's the laws of the sacrifices. They have to be from pure animals, right? Like I said, only from sheep or goats or ox and birds. These type of only three types of behemoths alone, right? Either sheep or goats or cows alone, and they have to be slaughtered. And there's a lot of other laws, tremendously detailed laws about the sacrifices. And also the sacrifices, how they should be, and where you should pour the blood, and etc. Tremendous restrictions on the laws of the Holy Temple. Because it's limited lights in very thick vessels. But Yaakov, he wanted, he's not appealing to the God of Yaakov. He's not appealing to the order. He's appealing to Esav, the power of Esav. He wants to draw down the power of the world, the source of the world into the world. So Yaakov, when he was elevating this, he wanted to arouse this level of the surrounding level of Tohu, which is a tremendous lights. Therefore, he could not do it in a normal way with normal vessels. Therefore, he had to send an offering, a mincha, which was raising up this feminine waters to this high place, which is above any limitation. Even though these impure animals, and even like camels, etc., all of them, and they were all alive, they weren't slaughtered. Why? Because he wanted to appeal and draw down to an infinite light of God, which is above any limitations. There's no tzimtzumim, there's no contractions, there's no definitions over there. Pure lights of God to be drawn down into the world, because this type of light is so great, it can't bring any vessels. And he wanted to purify it, and this is where we're going to stop. Like the rabbis say, pig, chazir. Why is it called chazir? Why is it called chazir? Because the word chazir means to return. She'atid lachzor, it's going to come back and be pure. Namely, in the future, that there won't be any death in the world. Then that's what Yaakov was working for, that the world itself should reveal the godliness which is creating the world. Like we said so many times, how important this physical world is to God. When that's realized, then it says that even the pig will be permissible to eat. Who's going to want to eat it? I don't know. But nevertheless, as then will be revealed the essence of God, and even a pig will you'll be able to elevate it, which is not the case now. As we're going to continue, I guess we can go up to the paragraph. Therefore, Yaakov sent this offering to Esav, which is elevating feminine waters to this makif, the surrounding level of tohu, which is above, so to speak, the Torah. That's something like Baal Tshuva, above the Torah. Therefore, he sent even impure things. Therefore, he sent also camels, which is because exactly the opposite. The source of camels, this is very, very high, higher than cows. Like we said about Abraham, like we said with Abraham, he sent Eliezer, his non-Jewish servant, and he took 10 camels from the camels of Abraham and all the good of Abraham in his hands. This is like Gamul alai. Gamul means that God removed himself. Camel is from Gamal, means that Gamal means to give, but also Gamul means to be removed. Gamal ali imo, like that he has removed himself. It's a high level that's so high. That's the camels. Okay, you can't do this in the Holy Temple because the Holy Temple, everything is very, very limited. Says the Rebbe that in the Holy Temple, everything is very limited, and that's the way it has to be until the raising of the dead. And the raising of the dead, then there's going to be the temple, but there's going to be unlimited lights. The whole physical world will become like a holy temple. And all this, you couldn't do only Yaakov before the Torah was given. But we can't do this. You can't say nowadays, I'm going to offer up a camel, I'm going to do whatever I want. Now what's impure is forbidden, according to the Torah. This we have to keep far away from. We have to distance ourselves, and we can't elevate it at all. Therefore, anyone who comes along and says the Jews don't have to do the commandments, Jews can eat anything they want to, Jews can do whatever they want to, this is destroying the world. Only until Moshiach comes along, and there's going to, even more, only in the raising of the dead. Only in the raising of the dead will be such a thing like this, that the limitations of the Torah will be redefined in a different way. That's what Yaakov was working for. Yaakov was working for to reveal the true essence of the good which is hidden in every detail of this world, even in Esav, even in pigs, even in everything. That's what he was working for. He did not succeed. We're going to see that he did not succeed, but he's trying, and he gave us the power to try as well, as we're going to continue, God willing, tomorrow. Let us know.